It was definitely a demonic attack. This is not ordinary. This is not ordinary. Place your hand on the floor and now say, "Oh earth, you will not receive my husband." God, I know you have done it. That's Friday morning. When I called my mom, she was like, on the 28th of December, I got a distress call from home that my father was bedridden. He could not move. He could not eat. He could not talk. He could not do anything. He was just lying down on the bed. He could not move. And then the same place, the same bed he was lying on was where he was pooping and he was peeping. And the news broke me. So I was now like, what type of sickness is this? So I said, not on my watch. I'm on NSPPD altar. So this affliction will not happen. So I asked them to get a doctor because he couldn't go to the hospital. The doctor came to the house and checked on him. They ran several tests and everything. The result came out negative. The doctor said there was nothing wrong with him. So I knew that this was the devil's plot, that this was the devil's lie. It was definitely a demonic attack. So I now told my mom, I said, we need to take this matter to the altar of fire. This is not ordinary. This is not ordinary. So the doctor now decided to, of course, he was going to do his own thing. He was treating and administering all the medication he could. But after several days, there was no positive response. I was not like, what is happening? What are we even doing? So I now told my mom, I said, no, we have to go to the altar. So on one of the days, I told her, I said, do you still have the mantle I gave you? She said, no. I said, okay, the wristband I gave you, it's also a mantle. Can you remove the wristband and put it on daddy? So she did that. She put the wristband on him, and I said, okay, while you're there, just pray and say, Elroy, Elroy, Elroy 3 times, and then say, what God cannot do does not exist 3 times, and then place your hand on the floor and now say, oh earth, you will not receive my husband until I say so. So she did that, and after that we got off the phone, and I was fulfilled within me that God had answered our prayer. So the following day, when I called to find out what the station report was, my mom was like, that for the first time after several days, my dad got up that same night and went to the toilet on his own, unaided. What God cannot do does not exist. That was the first miracle that God did. And then the second one was that of the scrotum. While we're battling this demonic attack of a sickness, we're also battling enlarged scrotum. I was now like, what type of wahala is this? Enlarged scrotum from where? So I told my mom, I said, I couldn't even fathom it. I couldn't even imagine how big it was. I told my mom, I said, okay, God has done the first one. He that did that one is more than able to do the second one. Okay, so we're going to take this back to the altar, And then I told her, I said, please, can you remove the wristband and put it on the scrotum? She said, how will she do it now? The thing is too big. The thing is like 5 times the size of the wristband. I said, 5 times. He said, yes, now like 5 oranges put together. I shouted. I said, what? He said, yes, that the thing restricts his movement. He cannot even move and all of that. And that though it's not painful, it's not, because when she asked him, he said the thing is not painful. So I'm like, okay, what we're going to do is God, take it back to God anyway. And then I told her, I said, I'm praying on the altar. While I'm still praying, you will be doing your own part. You administer the communion, everything you can think of that I told you to be doing, just be doing it. And then on this faithful day, Papa now mentioned our case. I can't remember the date. I think it was 21 or 23rd or something. It was on a mercy day, on a mercy day. And from the beginning of that mercy prayer, I just knew that particular mercy prayer was just for my family. Because every declaration, every prayer, everything was just diverted to what was happening to my family. So Papa said God is showing mercy on those with enlarged scrotum, with God show mercy on those with prostate cancer, with he just mentioned those things, and I now grabbed it. I ran with it. I was happy. I was like, God, thank you, you have mentioned it. So that day was on a Wednesday. On Thursday, I didn't call after that prayer. I didn't call that Wednesday. On Thursday, I didn't call. And then on Friday, the Holy Spirit now said, oh yeah, now put your call through. And now said, God, I know you have done it. This I'm putting this call through is going to be good news, because I was so sure, that I'd gotten my word. So that Friday in the morning, do you know my Elroy? Do you know my Elroy? Streams of Joy, do you know my Elroy? That's Friday morning. When I called my mom, she was like, immediately she heard my voice, she was like, what God cannot do does not exist. Oh, I was like, waiting to happen. She said, what God cannot do does not exist. Do you know? In fact, she could not even talk. So I said, what happened? She said, Daddy slept on Wednesday with an enlarged scrotum, and on Thursday morning, Daddy woke up with the enlarged scrotum totally disappeared. Oh my God, I was short of words. I did not know what to do. I was like, God, so you have come to my house. Roy, you actually came the third time for my family. You have done it for me. And I made a vow. I said, Lord, I will come and stand in the congregation and testify of your goodness. God did it for me. Do you know my Roy? What God cannot do does exist. Papa, I'm grateful. I am thankful. I am grateful. It can only be God. You don't know what you have done. I keep telling people around me, I say, Papa came to Abuja because of me. In fact, you have strengthened me. What I did not think was able. In fact, right now, I'm like the prayer warrior in the family. Everybody's calling me, Oyayeka, pray, pray. God has done it. He has visited my family. And I am grateful. I've come to say thank you. May the oil on your head never run dry. Thank you, Papa. Thank you. Thank you for all your sacrifices. God bless you. God bless you, sir. God bless you. I love you too much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. What God cannot do does not exist.